What if I told you that even if your ads are absolutely crushing it right now, that you are still playing a very dangerous game? Like, yeah, you're making a profit, your ROAS may be sexy, and you feel like you've cracked the code. But here's the thing, let me ask you, if you stopped running ads today, then would you still grow? Would you still scale? And before you say yes, really think about it. If your pipeline is only full when you pump money into the ad machine, then the truth is that your system is built on toothpicks. See, most coaches and info sellers fall into two camps when it comes to running ads. The first group are the people who are losing money on ads and they don't know why. And the second group is making money, but they don't understand how fragile their success really is right now. And what no one wants to admit is both groups are literally one account closure or one ad cost spike away from their revenue completely evaporating. But wait, there's actually some hope. It's not all doom and gloom, because there is a third group. And this group, they don't need ads to survive. These guys can launch a new offer, send one message to their audience, and literally make 5 figures in a single day. These are the guys who don't follow the traditional path of this hamster wheel and have actually built something smarter, a system that is smarter. So stick with me to the end of this video, because by the end of this video, I'm going to show you why running ads without this one thing in your system is costing you tens of thousands of dollars, even if your ROAS is out of the roof right now. All right, so let's firstly quickly break down who this video is actually for and who it's not for, simply because, I don't want to waste your time. So this video is for you if you're a high ticket coach, mentor, info seller, community owner, and maybe if you're an agency owner, if you have a single service agency. This is also for you if you're making more than 10 grand a month, if you have client results, if you're open to new perspectives and you have an email list, or you will have one very, very soon. So if that's you, then this video is for you. This is not for you if you are under 10 grand a month, if you have no client results, if you are not open to new perspectives and you don't have an email list and you don't plan to have one. If that is you, then please click off the video, because it will be a waste of your time. To be honest, it just won't be useful. But now that we've got out of the way, let's firstly quickly talk about why you should even listen to me. So this is basically the results I've been able to get with my clients through email marketing, and you'll find out why we're talking about email marketing here as we go on in the video. So we have like 30K in pipeline in 7 days, 5K in pipeline on day 1, 10.5K in pipeline in 10 days, 10K in pipeline in 7 days. And not only that, but we've been able to achieve some pretty crazy metrics for a lot of our clients. Like here we have 95% open rates, 19% click rates, 76% open rates, 41% click rates, 70% open rates, 22% click rates, 89% open rates, 28% click rates, 76% open rates, 8% click rates. So there's plenty of proof. You can even check out my Instagram if you want to see some more. But without further ado, let's get right into it. And let's first break down why just running ads is actually very, very dangerous. Now, if you're making money with ads, it seems like everything's working, right? You're spending maybe $1 and you're making 3. So everything feels great. Life is good. But let me make this very, very clear. Ad platforms do not care about your business. And that seems pretty obvious, but it's very important for me to make that really clear. Facebook doesn't care. Instagram doesn't care. YouTube doesn't care. TikTok definitely doesn't care. And the reason why I say this is because the moment the ad costs spike, and they will spike because of the trend that they're on, or your account gets flagged for no reason, or your targeting just randomly stops working, then what happens? Then you're back at square one. And this is such a trap, because ads give you this false sense of security. And now, don't get me wrong, I want to make this very clear. Ads are amazing and they're very, very good. But they can give you this false sense of security because they make you think, yeah, I can just spend my way to growth. I can put more money in and that means I'll get more money out. But let me ask you, that very phrase, spending my way to growth, does that seem like a sustainable way to grow? You have to put money in to get money out, because underneath all of that, you have zero leverage. You're letting 99% of the attention that you get from your ads disappear without being captured. You're letting it disappear. You're essentially letting 99% of the people that see your ad who could buy from you and who are ideal clients, you're just letting them leave. And what makes this even worse is that this isn't just a problem for people who are struggling with ads, but it's also a hidden trap for people who are winning with ads, because you don't feel the urgency to fix this. You think, why would I change anything? I'm making money. I'm doing amazing. But that profit blinds you, because you're starting to scale your ad spend. You're getting addicted to the dopamine results, and before you know it, your business is essentially run on a machine that only keeps running if you keep pouring money in, and you can't slow down. You can't stop, because if you stop the machines, then you stop making money. Meanwhile, the coaches and info sellers who are making millions from this, and I'm talking the top dogs in the industry, people like Sabri Subi, Dan Henry, Iman Gatsi, they don't play that game. Because sure, they run ads, but they've built something on top of their ads that gives them real leverage. And leverage is essentially the difference between working for your business and your business working for you. Between waking up every day stressing about what your CPMs are doing, what Facebook or Instagram CPMs are doing, or waking up knowing that you could pause all of your ads for a month and still make bank. Because you see, ads are getting more and more expensive day by day. Facebook CPMs, for example, just for some context, Facebook CPMs have doubled over the last 5 years. And not only that, but there are more and more advertisers that are flooding the market. Which means, and since more and more advertisers are flooding the market, that just means that prices are going to continue to go up. So you're basically in a bidding war for attention. So the question is, if your traffic and attention keeps getting more expensive, but you don't have a way to own the attention, so you can actually have ownership in your business and have that leverage we were talking about earlier. If you don't have a way to own it, then think about it. How long before your margins disappear? How long before you're just breaking even? Because ads are going to keep getting more and more expensive, and you're letting 99% of your attention that you're getting from your ads go to waste, even if they're perfect clients. So if you're not owning it, just think about how much you're losing. And this is where most people get blindsided. They think that, well, my ads are profitable, I'm safe. But every single lead that you lose and you're letting slip away is costing you more and more over time. It's compounding. It's like pouring water into a bucket that's full of holes, and the water is just getting pricier by the day. Now, though, imagine this. Imagine if every single person who clicked on your ad, every single dollar that you spent to get that attention didn't just vanish after one scroll. Imagine if you could keep that attention almost like an asset, almost like money or gold, that you could keep it forever. And you could speak to them whenever you want with just one message. That changes the whole game, because as we were talking about before, it gives you this leverage. Now, no matter, even if your ads bomb for a whole month and you don't do anything with them and nothing works with them, then you can still make bank, because you're not paying for clicks anymore, but rather you're paying to build a machine that prints revenue for the months and for the years to come. And, look, if you're running ads right now without that system in place, then I want to make this very clear that I wholeheartedly believe that you are burning money. Even if you're profitable, you might not be losing money directly, but you have an opportunity cost that you are losing. You are probably leaving out thousands, if not tens of thousands of dollars on the table that could be being made. Now, that brings us to section 2, which is a very, 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 very important concept for you guys to understand. Now, as you probably know, we live in an attention economy. But the problem is most coaches and info owners on the market right now are playing the game backwards. They're spending money to interrupt someone's day for 3 seconds. Someone sees your ad, maybe clicks, maybe doesn't, and then poof, that attention is gone forever. But what if I told you, those 3 seconds of attention that you paid for, what if those 3 seconds could turn into 3 days, into 3 years of attention. Because that's exactly what top marketers are doing right now. They're not just buying clicks or traffic, they're buying equity in attention. They're stacking attention like it's an asset, like it's money. Because once you own that attention, the game changes completely. Let me break this down for you. When you run a Facebook ad and let's say someone clicks and someone doesn't buy, most people think, that's just the cost of doing business. You lose someone, and you will lose people for sure. But the thing is, that is surface level thinking, because the person that clicked, they showed interest and they gave you the most valuable thing that they have, their attention, and you're just letting them walk away. That's kind of like someone handing you a $20 bill and you just throw it in the bin just because you're wasting it. There's a reason why companies like Apple and like Netflix, why they spend billions fighting for your attention, because once they have it, they can monetize it over and over again. Apple doesn't just make money when you buy a phone. They make money from every subscription you sign up to, every piece of content that you consume in their world. Netflix doesn't just want you to watch one show. They want to own your evenings for the next 2, 3, 5 years. See, these companies, these billion-dollar firms, what they understand is that attention compounds. Every dollar that you spend acquiring and owning attention today can generate revenue for months or years to come, but only if you capture it properly. Only if you build a system that actually properly turns those fleeting moments into lasting relationships. And there's a particular reason why this is so important, especially running ads. And that's what we're going to break down now. See, every single day, you're running ads that are reaching your absolute dream customers, because ads have a targeting system and allows you to target certain type of people. So you're reaching your absolute dream customers, people who need exactly what you're selling, people with money, burning holes in their pockets, okay? And these guys are actively looking for solutions, especially if you're running ads with like Meta, for example. Their targeting system is absolutely brilliant. But what happens to those people? They see your ad, maybe they click, maybe they browse your site for 30 seconds, maybe they even add something to the cart. But then life gets in the way, they have an objection because of something that they see, or they have a limiting belief, and they click off and they're gone forever. Which means that you just paid to reach the perfect person at the right moment, at the perfect moment with the perfect message. And you let them disappear, never to be seen again. Think about it. Every click that doesn't convert isn't just a failed conversion, it's a missed relationship with a perfect ideal client, because that's what ads bring you. It's someone who showed interest and engaged, and then now you have zero way to follow up with them. That's kind of like, let's say you open a restaurant in town and people are lining up at the door. While people are lining up at the door, they see the menu and they walk off. And when they walk off, you just shrug. You just shrug your shoulders and you let them go. That's just kind of like, it's pretty ignorant in all honesty, because you know that they won't come back. And when they do go away, you know that they'll be exposed to like 10, 15 other places and other ads that are literally offering the exact same thing. So your moment with them is over when you had the opportunity. And the crazy part is that most people don't even realize this. Most marketers, most coaches, most influencers don't realize this. They're so focused on the immediate conversions from ads that they ignore the gold mine of warm traffic that they're generating and that they're wasting every single day. This warm traffic, they're wasting this every single day. Bearing in mind, this traffic is literally comprised of their perfect ideal clients due to an ads targeting system. But what will happen is a lot of these people will click and they won't buy, and they'll be written off as acquisition costs, as I've already said. And because the main reason why I'm talking about all of this is because people never buy on the first touch point. People never ever buy on the first touch point. Google did a study. And if they found, and you've probably already heard this before, especially, if you're an online coach, but they found that it takes someone 7 hours of consuming your content across 11 different touch points and across 4 different platforms in order to be ready to buy. So the people that are actually winning and building sustainable businesses with ads leading into 2026, they aren't just hoping for immediate conversions, because they understand this rule. They understand that their goal from their ads should rather be to get as many perfect, ideal leads into their ecosystem to be nurtured. They capture the attention, they own the attention, and this attention is comprised of their perfect leads, and these leads are sent into their ecosystem to be nurtured, so that they can build trust in them, so that they can build a relationship with them. And when that person is finally ready to buy, whether that be next week, next month, next year, whenever that is, guess who they're going to think of first? You. Because they're in your ecosystem, they're being nurtured, you've been building trust with them across this a long time span without being pushy. So the first person they're going to buy from is you. And that brings me to the 2 types of coaches. Coach 1 is the no ownership coach. And by the way, we're talking specifically about coaches who are running ads and kind of their strategy or their system after the ad. Coach 1 is no ownership coach. And these guys essentially, they rely on direct sales or direct booked calls or stuff like that. They're running traffic straight to perhaps a sales page, and they're optimizing for immediate conversions. And they're happy when they have a ROAS of 3 or 4x. I just want to really stress, by the way, that this strategy can work. As I always say, all strategies work. I'm just presenting my personal viewpoint from my personal experience with my clients and what I found to work better, okay, from my personal experience. But here's what they don't realize. They may be making great money, but the problem is they're building a leaky funnel-like system, which leads to, and this is a very important word, volume-based growth. What do I mean by volume-based growth? What I mean is they need to pour more resources like time and money in order to make more, which I think we can all agree. If you need to work more, or if you need to spend more money to make more money, then that's just a recipe to build a business that you hate. So someone sees the ad, they don't buy, and they're gone, because they don't have any capture systems. They don't have any way to own the attention through an email list, through a community, etc. So they paid money to reach their dream clients, and they have 0 follow-up. And what happens is these guys are stuck on this hamster wheel where they're spending more and more every single month, i.e. volume-based growth, to make more. And they can't slow down, they can't stop, and they're completely dependent on the platform and their ad spend, because if they stop, then they stop making money. And when their account gets closed, when the costs continue to rise and they spike for no reason, then they're going to start worrying how the clients are coming in. These guys are basically building on the edge of a cliff. But these guys, coach 2, the ownership coach, this coach runs ads a bit differently. They want some immediate sales as well, sure, but they're playing a smarter game. Instead of sending all of their traffic directly to a sales page, they're optimizing for attention capture. Oh, lost connection. Hold on. Oh yeah, here we go. Attention capture. Owning the attention that they've got. They're trying to get people into their ecosystem first, onto their email list, onto their community, following their content. That's their goal from the app. Yes, their immediate ROAS may look a bit worse on paper, but the magic is every person who doesn't buy today isn't lost forever. In fact, they probably have, in the long run, they have a higher chance of making more money. The ownership coach can follow up with them. They can provide value. They can build trust. They can stay top of mind. And when that person is ready to buy in, a week, year, whatever, they're going to choose you. Another thing is when the ownership coach, when they launch a new program or a new offer, they don't have to start their marketing from scratch. They don't need to start running a whole new ad to a whole new custom audience or whatever. They can send one email to their list and fill a $50,000 launch in 24 hours. Or when they want to test a new offer, they can post it in their community or their email community, and they can get instant feedback. And when ad costs continue to spike and they continue to rise, then it doesn't really matter for them because they have an owned audience of perfect ideal clients that they can sell to at any time. So these guys are building a real system and real business. Every ad dollar does two things. It generates immediate sales, but it also builds their most valuable asset, which is owned attention of their perfect ideal leads. And what's really, really wild here is, and this is again from my personal experience, is I find that these coaches often become better at ads because they can take bigger risks, they can test for longer, they can afford to optimize for lifetime value instead of immediate ROI because they know that every single person they capture will be worth 5 to 10 times more over time. They're playing the long-term game. They're building momentum. And that links perfectly to what I'm talking about next, which is the compounding effect of owned attention. So most people think about ads like this. They spend money, they get results, and they repeat. And that's fine. But it's a very, very linear transaction, which is basically where, every dollar that you put in, you get more out. And it gives you predictable output, and that's basically it. But when you own the attention, that's when we get compounding growth. And let me actually show you what I mean by this really quickly. Let's say that business A here, let's say that they spend 10 grand a month on ads. Let's say they spend 10 grand a month and they make 30 grand a month from that. So that means that they've made 20 grand a month profit from ads. Decent ROAS, right? What, like 3x, something like that? The thing is, the next month now, they have to spend another 10 grand to make another 30 grand. Okay, and it's basically this endless cycle where they're always starting from zero. Now let's talk about business B. Just an imaginary example. And they do things a bit differently. They also spend the 10K on ads. They spend the first 10K a month on ads. But instead of optimizing for immediate sales, they optimize for attention capture. And because of that, let's say they make, in month one, they make 20 grand from the ads, which means that they've made 10 grand less in the first month. Okay, which seems bad. But now let's talk about month two. So that was month one. That was month one. Now month two rolls around. So business A, they spend their 10 grand and they make 30 grand. Business B, they spend 10 grand, they make 20 grand, but last month, because they were optimizing for attention capture, they also captured 5,000 people into their list. And let's say that only, a handful of those people are actually ideal clients. But from those 5,000 people in month two, they make an additional 15 grand. So now these guys have made 20 grand this month, and these guys have made 25 grand this month. So we can see even by month two, even if they were making less money on ads, even if business B was making less money on ads, just by optimizing for attention capture, they're now making more money just by month two. And then it's a compounding effect. Month three rolls around. Again, business A does the same thing. They spend their 10 grand, they make 30 grand, and they make 20 grand profit. Business B, they spend their 10 grand, they make 20 grand, so they make 10K profit from that, and they captured another 5K people in their list last month. So now they have 10,000 people in their list, and let's say they make another 25, 30 grand from their list, then that's another Let's say they make 25 grand from their list, then that's 35 grand. So it's a compounding effect. First month, they only made 10 grand, but then they made, what, 25 grand, and then they made 35 grand, spending the exact same amount of money on ads. Whereas business A, they've spent 10 grand and they've made the same 30 grand back. So they've made 20 grand. So do you see this compounding effect that I'm talking about with this kind of illustration that I've made? You're able to make more and more money every single year. It's compounding effect. You build momentum by owning attention. And, if we continue this, business B will just continue to make more and more. By month 6, they'll be making maybe double, triple more, even though that, immediate ad performance might have been worse. And, if you go down even years now, 12 months, 24 months, they're going to be absolutely crushing them because they've built a revenue generating asset that appreciates in value. Whereas business A is just stuck on this hamster wheel of spending and making. And see, when I talk about this kind of compounding effect, sure that I mean, more money, more sales, etc. But it goes a lot deeper in terms of it brings a lot more referrals. It's going to bring you a lot more word of mouth. It's going to bring you a lot more social proof, testimonials, and that just gives you all more leverage for in the future to make even more money. So that's why this is so important. And business A and people who have the kind of system like this, they make good money. They might tweak their ads and make a bit more 1 month, but they're spending money to get a few seconds of attention for immediate conversions, and then they start over again. Whereas business B and people who run a system like business B, they capture that attention and they can use that attention that they've captured for years and years, months and months to come. It's kind of like, how I think about it is, it's kind of like the difference between planting seeds and then buying cut flowers. When you buy cut flowers, they look really nice today, but they're dead tomorrow. But seeds, they take some time to grow, but then you have an orchard that's producing amazing fruit and beautiful fruit, tasty fruit year and year after year. That's the secret sauce. Attention, the most valuable currency. In fact, let me write this down because this is super important. Attention, which we already established, is literally the most valuable currency in this era. Attention, which is owned, that compounds and builds momentum over time. Attention that is owned and builds momentum and compounds over time. So now I've talked about that and I've broken that down to you and you guys can understand that. Let's talk about where this headed, because I genuinely wholeheartedly believe that the future is ownership. Owned attention is the future. I genuinely believe this. The era of kind of spray and pray advertising with huge traffic and, getting all these views and traffic and everything is coming to an end. And personally, I think it's already over. Now, people think this is a bad thing. But it's actually an incredible opportunity. The fact that, traffic is getting, number one, harder and more expensive. Ad costs are going up, so traffic's getting more expensive, and organically it's becoming a lot harder to get views organically because the market is flooded. So traffic's getting harder and it's harder to get and it's getting more expensive. Now, people think that that's a bad thing. But I think it's an incredible opportunity because especially for the business who positions themselves and who can use their traffic wisely, it's an amazing opportunity for them because all the competition doesn't know about this. Now, see, when traffic gets harder and when traffic and attention gets harder to get and it becomes more expensive, then what becomes more valuable? Trust, direct relationships, and ownership. Trust, direct relationships, and ownership. That's what gets more and more valuable. Think about it, if business A, and forget the last scenario, this is a new scenario. If business A spends $50 to acquire a customer through ads, and the next, if it costs $50 to acquire a customer through ads next year instead of $20, for example, so it's gone from 20 to 50, let's just say that, then who's going to win? Is it the business who has to acquire every single person for their program? Is it the coaching business that acquires every single person, spending $50 to get one person in? Or is it going to be the person who can reach 10,000 people with one email? Bearing in mind, a lot of those 10,000 people will be perfect clients, perfect ideal leads that just need a bit more nurturing, that just need the next step to be taken, etc. Now, the business that's essentially dependent on ads and on Facebook's algorithm, is it going to be the business that's basically dependent on ads and Facebook or Instagram's algorithm? Or is it going to be the business who's got a direct relationship with the customer? I mean, which group do you want to be yourself? Just think about it. Do you want to be the first group who allows the fact that traffic and attention is getting harder and harder to get, and it's getting more expensive? Are you going to be the type of person who allows that to just swallow you so you can never build a sustainable business? Or we think like the second type of business owner who's thinking outside the box, and they build an owned audience and a system of compounding leverage, a system that gives them leverage and compounds and builds momentum over time. Because the people who live in that second group, they thrive and they love their life. What I mean by that is, and the reason I say that is simply because they don't need to pour more resources in order for their business to grow. They don't need to invest more time or get more traffic or spend more money in order to grow their business, because they can make more money by just selling to their existing audience, especially when you have an owned audience. You can just make more money by selling to that existing audience because it's made up of perfect ICP leads. So again, and I'll ask you this again, which person do you want to be? Because you can make the choice right now. The choice is completely yours. It's your life, your business. You can make the choice how you grow your business. You can either be the first type of guy who runs their business on the traffic game. Traffic and short-term attention. The person who knows that traffic is getting harder and is getting more expensive, but they don't do anything about it, and they just let life take control of them. And so they stick with a funnily-like system, which is super leaky. Traffic's already getting harder to get. So with the reduced amount of traffic that they're getting, they struggle to convert anyone because they have a leaky system that's not built on trust. Or you can be that first guy, or you can build a business in which you build a system that's based on trust, that's based on having actual leverage. So you have an owned audience, you have owned attention, and it compounds and it builds momentum over time. So your efforts now pay you 2, 3, 4 years in the future. And let me tell you, this first type of business, it generally entails long hours. So long hours, high stress, and what was the last one? Oh yes, low profit. A business leading into 2026 that is built on volume, traffic, and short-term attention will only be able to grow if you work long hours with high stress and with low profit. That's the only way that type of business will go. Now, the second type of business with trust is literally the opposite. You can grow with low hours. You can grow with low stress because you don't need to be chasing more views or spending more money on ads when you don't want to, and high profit because your business doesn't rely on pouring more resources in. The choice is yours. Your business, your life. You can build it how you want to. So if you want to build an owned audience through an email list, so you can have real leverage and real ownership in your business, and you can build a coaching business that you love with high profit, low working hours, low stress, then there's a link down below to work with me where we basically take care A to Z of the entire email marketing process. Only if you're a coach making over 10 grand a month, by the way. Otherwise, it won't really help you. But so yeah, there's a link down below to work with me if that would help you. But if you're not ready for that yet, then just click on this video next, which breaks down essentially a $35 million marketer's email marketing system and how he runs his email marketing system. So you can just copy it in your own business. So click on this video next.